Good morning. One of the earliest memories I have as a little boy is a holiday in Devon. I probably was only about 4 or 5 at the time. And we had a trip across from Torquay to Brixham and back again. And we went on a boat called the Western Lady. It was a sort of local ferry. And on the return journey, before we got onto the boat, a warning went out that there was going to be a storm. The captain of the Western Lady decided still to go. And then when we got halfway across Tor Bay, this storm blew up and the waves were getting large and breaking over the side of the boat. It was quite scary. And all of a sudden one big wave came along and hit the boat and it knocked it on its side and it felt like we were going to turn over. And as it hit the boat hung there for a moment. And people were rushing around and the crew who had been downstairs below decks came rushing up and there was mass panic. I'd been standing on the deck and I slid right down the deck into the cabin where my mum was sitting. As I stood along the deck, I actually looked up and saw my dad, who was calmly standing by the side of the boat holding the rail. He looked as if nothing was happening. He looked in total control. And as a little boy who was scared, that gave me great confidence. That gave me faith. Well, obviously we survived because I'm here today. I don't know how you're feeling at the moment. I don't know what you feel about COVID. But part of COVID hitting this country and indeed the world has caused a lot of people to fear and to be scared. And in one sense, quite rightly so. Just yesterday on the TV, Karen Brady said these words, that a friend had said to her, there are decades when nothing happens and there are weeks when decades happen. And at the moment it feels like that, doesn't it? Everything seems to be collapsing and going wrong and people don't have many answers. Some people have plenty of answers. But the side product is that we get scared. We are fearful. It's interesting that as we come to this time of the year and you look at the Bible, that actually the fear not or don't be afraid phrase is there quite a lot. It's actually there talking to Abraham, Moses and Gideon. But in the Christmas story, we hear those words being said to Joseph and to Mary and to the shepherds because they were in fearful situations. Something was going to change in their life. And they wondered how they were going to cope. But all along, God assured them that he was with them. They needn't panic. Life will throw horrible things at us. And how do we survive? A verse that helped me, particularly after the death of our son, he died when he was 31, were verses from Isaiah 43. And they read like this. Fear not, for I have redeemed you. I have called you by name, you are mine. When you pass through the waters, I will be with you, and through the rivers they will not overwhelm you. When you walk through the fire, you shall not be burned, and the flame shall not consume you. For I am the Lord your God, the Holy One of Israel, your Saviour. For the academics there, you'll know those words were said to a nation, but I believe there is truth there for all of us. And there are plenty of places in the Bible where God promises to be with us. We may not understand the situation, but he promises to be with us. We may not have all the answers in the situation, but he promises to be with us. Does this work? Well, as an older person there have been several times in my life when I wondered what on earth is happening. I remember the day when I had to ring up from Cheddar Gorge to check out whether my wife, Mary, had cancer. She had had the same symptoms as her mother, but fortunately, unlike her mother, she didn't have cancer. She actually is still alive today, and that's tremendous. I've referred to bereavement and to death, and the year our son died, we had 4 other people close to us die. One of them was Mary's stepmother, and one was my mother, and others were close friends. And that hits you for 6. It makes you wonder what's happening, and you don't always have nice little pat answers for why it's happening. Some people will try and give you those answers, but actually sometimes we'll never find an answer. So what do we hang on to? If you get the Times magazine at the weekends, you may have read about Hugh Edwards, the BBC presenter for the news at 10 o'clock. And in his interview, he talks about the fact that actually he plays the organ in a Welsh Presbyterian chapel in the city of London. And this is what he says. It's about faith. You need some anchor in your life, and it's about community. There's quite a lot in that, obviously, but let's just hang on to this. I've found that as I've gone through crisis, whether it's when my car packed up and I hadn't got money to replace it, whether it's when the food in the cupboard dried up and I hadn't got money to replace it, when I was planning to go on holiday and I hadn't got money to go on holiday, whatever the situation we've found ourselves in, that actually I've found that faith in God actually works. It's not an airy-fairy thing. It's not just a nice feeling. In fact, sometimes you don't even have a feeling, but you have that confidence in your heart that He is there and He will see you through the circumstances, whatever they are. Those circumstances may not change, but He'll take you through them. And I recommend a faith in God today rather than fear in your heart that might cripple you.